Howdy, and welcome to this Life Lesson Friday episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. The topic for today's short episode is do the impossible. And granted, there's things that are like practically, for the most part, completely impossible, which would be like flapping your arms and flying off the ground, right? Like there's certain things that just the laws of nature are not going to allow to happen. So put those things aside and don't let those cloud your vision and your judgment on what you can get done. Really, I want to talk about the impossible things that we think are just never going to happen in our lives. I'm never going to be able to get in shape. I'm never going to be able to get the financial status that I want to achieve. Not necessarily millionaire, but just to be able to relax, to be able to not live paycheck to paycheck, right? The things that just seem there's times in our lives that they just seem impossible. It seems impossible to be in a relationship that's really great when you're young and you're maybe dating a lot of different people and you just can't find that right person. And it might sound like it seems like it's just impossible to find the right situation for me. Do the impossible means looking at what do I really want in life? And I've talked before, there's other episodes about setting a mission for your life and how to achieve the things that, how to set those goals up, how to go after those things to make sure that your life is fulfilling for you. And a big piece of that is doing the things that seem like they just can't be done. They seem like you just can't possibly get there. They're quote unquote impossible things to achieve. The biggest key when you look at things like this, and I tell people that I coach all the time, if somebody else has done it, then it's not impossible. You just don't know how to do it yet. You don't have the roadmap yet. You haven't fine-tuned all the skills to get there. Maybe you just don't have enough time and practice involved yet. There's so many different things to the pieces of the puzzle to get where you want to go. But don't give up just because it seems like it's impossible. Because there's goals to be achieved and there's a timeline that we have in our head. Most of us have a timeline in our head of like, we want to be at this point, at this point of our life, we want to be this far along in whether it's career, health, relationships, finances, whatever it is, there's things that we all set up in our head of this is where we want to be. And a common phrase is we just can't get ahead, right? I know a lot of people, including myself, that have used that phrase, I just can't seem to get ahead. That is a temporary piece, temporary time in your life. Because one of the things that I've heard many, many people say is that you will underestimate how much you can get done in a decade, but you will overestimate how much you can get done in a year. And so how much your life will change over the next decade, you completely underestimate what's out there and what's possible. Take the steps necessary to go after those things that seem like they're impossible in the areas of your life that you want to achieve greatness. If you want better health, do the things that seem impossible. I know a lot of people that say, oh, it's impossible for me to change my diet. It's impossible for me to wake up early and go exercise. It's impossible for me to exercise every day. It's impossible for me to da 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 da. Whatever it is about health, nutrition, exercise in that area. But then I also see dozens, hundreds, thousands of people that change their life by implementing exercise, by implementing nutrition changes, by implementing these things into their lives because they've determined now's the time for it to be possible for me to do these things. So whether it's possible or impossible is completely all in your head and the limits that you put on yourself. And once you learn how to take those down, And a lot of times it's just simply stopping that verbiage, stop using that verbiage, and start just stopping that and saying, okay, how do I get here? How do I get this done? I don't know how to do that. So, do I know how to write a plan for it? Do I have the right people in place to be able to go ask them for help? If I don't, who do I ask that can guide me to a place or a person to be able to get more help? It might be in the library. There might be books in the library you just need to read to be able to figure out the next steps. And let me tell you, there are a ton of books with great information about every aspect of life that you can go and you can check out at a library, and you can basically for free, all it takes is the time investment and the ability for you to take your brain and say, yes, these things are possible. I'm going to start moving in this direction. So, the life lesson for today, for this Friday, is to do the impossible. Pick the things that are completely impossible, that you just think there's no way my life could possibly include this, and start going after those things. You may or may not get there, but if you don't try, if you don't believe that it can be possible, you definitely won't get there. There's no way you will get there if you don't even believe it's possible. So the first thing you got to do is believe it's possible, then start working towards that goal. So go out there, do the things that are completely impossible, because that's the Life Lesson Friday for today.